Hi everyone, and welcome along to Peter's Reviews in the glorious sunshine in the garden today. As you can see, I've got the Polluno Pro on its stand today, so that makes it look like we might be doing a little bit of work to it, and that's the plan. Eskute have been good enough to send me the new XTech Zoom semi-hydraulic brakes in racing red. So we're looking at accessories today, and lots of people like to accessorise their bikes. Some people want to change the brakes from the standard brakes to semi-hydraulic. So what I'm going to do today is just take you a walk through how easy it is to fit these things, and then set up the bike. So without any further ado, let's get these brakes onto our Polluno Pro. Let's go. Hi everyone, following on from the intro there, you can see that I'm indoors now. Looks slightly different. I had some problems with the microphone when I recorded putting the front brakes on the bike here, so I thought I would redo it for you and then refer back to the original footage which was outside for the rear brakes. So let's get the bike on the bike stand, and we'll show you how to put these semi-hydraulic brakes on the front of the bike. Let's go. Okay, our first task will be to remove these standard Zoom brakes from our e-bike. We will begin by loosening the screw that releases the brake cable. You may have to remove the end piece to get it through the gap as it pulls through. That is the brake cable removed. Next, we need to remove the two screws that hold the caliper completely in place on the bike. So we'll start at the top and loosen the top one. And then we'll take some pressure off the bottom one. And then we'll release the bottom one first, so it's held in place just by the loose top one. Then we'll release the remaining threads on this screw and grab hold of the caliper. Just spin the last couple of threads, and now we have the old manual Zoom brakes removed. We can put them aside and begin the process to install the new Zoom semi-hydraulic brakes. Let's begin. Okay, here we have the new XTech Zoom brakes, semi-hydraulic Zoom brakes we're going to install. So you will see there's a yellow packing piece here. That's to stop the pads being pushed together during transport. So we'll remove that. And then we'll start by placing the caliper over the disc, push the pads through the disc, and then line your two screws up with your threads and begin the process of gently finding the thread, get it on a few threads there, get your second bolt, line that up as well. And while it's hand tight, you can take up some of the slack and then begin the process of tightening it up with your Allen key. So we'll make sure these are snugged up nice and tight. They do have a little piece of a thread lock on the threads already, so that's great. So when these are tight, they should not move at all. They're nice and tight. Our next step is to take our brake cable and feed that back through the top of the caliper here, right down at the black piece, so that the silver piece sits deep in the channel here. Next, we want to bring the cable down through the grip here, and you may want to put a little bit of pressure on the hydraulic piston just to bring the brake up a little bit further so that you can feed the cable through the grip, like so. So I'll hand tight this up, then I'll grab my Allen key and we'll begin to take a bit of pressure on there. It's going to loose it off ever so slightly, put a little bit of pressure on the piston, and then tighten that. We will make final adjustments very shortly. So next, what we're going to be looking for is any slack in our brake lever at the top end. And if there is, pull that tight, and there is quite a bit of slack there. So what we'll do is just get a pair of long nose pliers. We will grab hold of the bottom of the cable whilst loosening off the Allen screw. And while I've got it here, I will pull all the slack through on the brake cable and then nip that back up. Okay, let's have a go at that again. Yeah, that's taking all the slack and the play out the cable. But we're not set up yet. That's only the first start. So that's the XTech semi-hydraulic brakes in place. But now we need to check for the centre position of both pads. So we'll show you how to do that next. Okay, we've moved to the side of the caliper here. So we can see in the centre here is the two brake pads. And there's a screw at the top and the bottom on the underside here. What we do is we just loosen them off a little. So start with the bottom one. Just so it allows it to move. And then same again with the top one. And what we want to do now is pull our brake cable, or brake lever, sorry, until the brakes are now pinching in the centre position, and then it's moved the whole unit to the centre position. So what I do is, while keeping the brake lever held, is just nip that up, because that's it now centralised. So we'll tighten that one, and then we'll move down to the bottom one. Still holding our brake lever, nip that up nice and tight, and that's our brakes nice and snug in the centre. I don't know if you can see that through the camera or not, but that's us right in the centre. And we can check that by spinning the wheel, which we'll do next, and then we might do a final adjustment on the caliper itself if we need to tighten up the brakes. But we can do that either on the cable or on the adjuster. We're going to be using the adjuster today. So if I just lift the front wheel and give it a spin to check there's no rubbing, and then press the brakes, and it's good, but it could do with a bit of adjustment. So adjustments are done like so. So to begin our adjustment, I would loosen off this nut at the bottom here, so that it allows you to move up and down on the thread. So if I start spinning that in the upwards position, I'm pulling the caliper. I don't know if you can see it ever so slightly, it's coming up, which is bringing the brake calipers in a little. So you really just want to be, I'm spinning that quite a lot, you only really want to be doing that about one thread at a time, one full circle at a time, and then just going back to your brake caliper and feeling the pressure. And then once you're happy with it, it's positioning, which is still quite slack actually, so I'm going to go another couple of turns, another one or two, one or two more, and then once you're happy, then just tighten this nut back up. Now there's two positions you can do this adjustment. Do it where I'm doing it here, down on the caliper itself, but you same similar screw just at the side of your caliper on your brake caliper at the top there, where you can do slight adjustments from there as well. So let's just, that feels good. I'm just going to check we're not binding. So if I lift the wheel, give it a spin, there's no binding there, and then on with the brakes. That feels pretty good. That feels pretty good. So any final adjustment I might want to do, I might want to do that via the brake caliper on the top. I'll just show you that. The brake caliper itself has an adjustment screw just here, and again you can adjust that, but at the moment, until I've got out on the road, I think that looks okay. So just bring it back down into the caliper, and you can see that's the caliper fitted and nice and snugly tightened up. You can tidy up the ends of your brake cable by fitting a new split end, not quite sure what they're called. I've got one here, so I'll just tidy that up now, and we'll get that fitted. Okay, we're going to move on to the rear brakes, so we're going to go back to the original footage which was filmed in the garden showing you me fitting the rear caliper. So let's go and do that. Okay, that's moved on to the rear caliper now, so let's remove the brake cable initially. So let's just loosen that off. And just pull the cable all the way through. Again, if you have the same problem, you may have to snip the end off, so let me do that for you now. Okay, that's it snipped off, so let's just pull that away. We'll just tuck the brake cable out the way. Next we'll move in and remove the 2 screws that hold the caliper to the bike. Now I've got them nice and loose, I can just spin it and remove these screws. Okay, that's the standard zoom brakes removed, so I'll take them to one side. And here we have our new XTech semi-hydraulic brakes. So again, removing the protection, the spacer out of there, and then get them to the right position to be fitted. So we're going to slide it through the brake pads now. So just slide it through and then line up with the screw points here. So just hold that there for now. I've lined that up now, so let's grab one of our screws and see if we can get that hand tight. I'm using a little extension bar here just to give me the space to get hold of it easier. So that's that one on. Grab the second screw. Again, I think I'll put that on the extension bar to make it easier. Again, a little spin, hand tight. With the rear brakes here, slightly different in the positioning, that they don't have the black bar that the other one did. So we will be tightening these for the purpose of getting the brakes on, but we will be loosening both these screws again to adjust our centre position shortly. So let's now look at passing our brake cable back through the new calipers. Again, make sure the silver piece, so it's nice and snug in there. So once we bring the cable up, we pass it through the back piece there, so the cable's in position. It's always good maybe to grab a pair of pliers as well as your ratchet or your Allen key, and begin by putting a bit of pressure on there before tightening. So if I push down, that means our brakes, I've got a little bit of pressure, and I've done my best to take any slack out the cable here as well. It's always worth checking up at the brake lever end, it was on position, so there isn't any slack there. So I'm just going to spin the back wheel now. That seems fine. There's no binding. So what we'll do now is we will just spin it again, pull the brake, spin it a bit faster, and pull on the brake. Doing a lovely job there. So what we'll do next is we will just work on our centre position. So we'll loosen off our brakes again here. And then we shall, that's good, spin the wheel and then pull the brake and keep the brake caliper pressed on. And then tighten the top screw and then move on to our bottom screw. Once you're happy you've got it tight enough, you can then let go of the brake lever Give it a last tighten. Don't want it going anywhere. Lovely. Now we're down to really just final adjustments on the brakes. So again, if I just spin the wheel, pull the brake, that feels really good on the cable at the minute. If I did want to do any final adjustments, I have my screw here where I can back that off, back the nut off here, and then spin this to put tension on, or spin it back the way to take tension off if the brakes were binding. But like I say, they feel very good. So I'm quite happy to leave that just now until we get out on the road. We also have okay, that's us fitted the semi-hydraulic brakes to our Polluno Pro. So these XTech brakes are now fitted. Next thing for me to do is to get out on the road and do a little bit of braking tests, so that then we can see how good these brakes are. So a few people in our group already fitted them, giving them great reviews, but I want to get out there and find out for myself. So the next video will be a review video on the performance of these brakes, so please look out for that. So again, if you enjoyed the video today, please give us a big like down there. Please make sure you subscribe as well. It really helps the channel. If you haven't already, why not? Come on, join us. Be a subscriber to Peter's Reviews. We really appreciate it. It helps the channel grow. Doesn't cost you anything. Okay. So today, thank you for joining us today. One last thing, nearly forgot. We have a Facebook group that I help to administer as well. That's called the Eskute e-bikes Owners Club. So if you want to come across to Facebook, just type that in, answer a couple of questions. We'll get you into the group. If you haven't got an e-scooter bike yet, come in and ask all the questions you like. If you're already an owner, come in and share your experience, ask questions, share your pictures. We love pictures in there. We run picture competitions once a week, and there's a winner at the end of each month. So lots of reasons to come, find out a bit more about these bikes, or just join the community. We'd love to have you. So for now, look out for the next video that I'm going to do, doing the review on these brakes. But for now, I'll say good afternoon and thanks for watching. Bye bye now.